This video is all about natural dyeing with madder. You can use madder to dye both yarn and fabric and create beautiful shades of reds, oranges, corals, apricots and pink. If you are a natural dyeing beginner and want to read through all of the steps of the natural dyeing process again after watching this video, you can download my free guide on natural dyeing for beginners. You can find the link in the description box below. Hi, I'm Annika. I'm a natural dyer and I teach people how to dye yarn and fabric at home using natural dyes. Let's get started. Madder is a perennial plant which grows up to 1.5 meters in height. You can use both the roots and the plant tops for natural dyeing purposes, but dyeing with the madder roots is more common. If you use the roots, you can create shades of reds, oranges and corals. First, let's start off with the precautions. You should not use the same pots and utensils for natural dyeing that you use for cooking. You should always wear gloves. Preparing the dye solution and the mordant bath as well as the dyeing process itself should be done in a well-ventilated area. Personally, I often use a cooking plate that I put outside on my patio. I'm going to link all of the materials and tools that I use for you in the description box. On the first day, you measure the amount of madder roots you want to use. Put them in a pot and add some tap water. Then you let it sit overnight. On the same day, you also have to prep and scour your yarn or fabric. I'm going to insert a clip now showing you how to prep a skein of yarn and how to scour it. If you want to know more about these two steps, I'm going to link a blog post for you. On the following day, you slowly heat the madder roots in the water bath up to a temperature of 176 degrees Fahrenheit or 80 degrees Celsius maximum. It is very important when it comes to dyeing with madder to keep the temperatures rather low. Let the solution heat for about 60 minutes and give it a stir with a spoon from time to time. Then you let the dye solution cool off and sit overnight. On the same day, you are also going to mordant your yarn or fabric. This is done to increase the color fastness of the dye. When it comes to madder, mordanting with alum is best. If you are unsure about the whole mordanting process, I'm going to link a video as well as a blog post for you showing you how to mordant fiber for natural dyeing. On the third day, it is finally time to add your fiber to your dye bath. In order to create saturated, vibrant colorways, you can leave the madder roots in the dye pot and not filter them off beforehand. This will, however, create more of a tonal color result where you have some kind of movement within the skein, so not all of the parts of the skein have the same color depth. If you are looking for a more or less even color distribution all throughout the skein or piece of fabric, it makes sense to filter off the madder roots before the dyeing process. To do so, you use a sieve and simply pour the dye solution from the one pot into another pot. Next, you are going to heat the dye bath up to 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, it's very important when it comes to madder to keep the temperature at this maximum. Otherwise, you are going to dull the colors and are not going to achieve the clear reds you are probably looking for. Heat the dye solution for about 60 minutes. Give it a stir from time to time. Afterwards, let the pot cool down and sit overnight. If you are not happy with the color result on the next day, you can let the dye solution sit for another 24 hours and check again. On the following day, it's time to wash out the excess dye and dry your fiber. To do so, you take a bucket, fill it with water and a little bit of dish soap and place your skeins or pieces of fabric in it. Gently squeeze out the excess dye. Next, you're going to take your yarn or piece of fabric and put it under some running water to wash out even more excess dye. For the third step, fill your bucket or washing pan again with tap water and a little bit of a mild wool detergent. Wash out the excess dye again until the water runs completely clear, and then you can simply hang the yarn or fabric out to dry. Now let's have a look at the color results. Madder creates shades of red and orange, and on further exhausts of the dye bath also corals, pinks and apricots. Going to show you now how the first exhaust of the dye bath looked. So that is the first exhaust. This is the second exhaust, where I put another skein of yarn into the dye pot and repeated the dyeing process. It's a lot lighter. And that's another second exhaust as well. It looks different because of the technique I used. I used a technique to create this variegated look, and the yarn base is also different. These yarn bases are all naturally colored, so they have like a very light beigey color, and this is a gray mild yarn base. And for the third exhaust, you can see this is where the skeins are more apricot or even a very light pink in tone. For the pieces of fabric, to show you now, I used a linen fabric sample, so that's this one, which is a bit deeper in color, and a cotton fabric, which is a lot lighter. The fabric was mordanted with aluminium triformate, and as you can see, it created a lot more of a shade of coral, whereas the yarn is red or orange primarily. Lastly, I want to share a couple of tips with you so that you can achieve the results you are looking for when natural dyeing with madder. Tip number 1, gentle dyeing process. As is the case with most natural dyes, being gentle all throughout the dyeing process is always best. And it is the case for madder especially. Always be aware to only slowly heat up the dye pot, let it cool off naturally, let it sit, stir gently. Don't use harsh temperatures when dealing especially with wool, because wool is prone to felting. So even if you wash out the excess dye, be aware of the water temperature and try to match the temperature of the water bath for the washing out with the temperature of the dye bath so that you are not going to felt the wool accidentally. My second tip is about mordanting. If you mordant your yarn before dyeing with madder, make sure to use alum to achieve vibrant, clear reds. My third tip is about pH sensitivity. Madder roots is one of the dye materials that is sensitive to the pH of the water bath. Acidic environments are going to shift the colors more towards apricots and create more of a yellow undertone, whereas alkaline environments are going to shift the color more towards pinks. You can test the pH of your dye solution with a simple pH strip. If you have an acidic environment, the color of the pH strip is going to lean more towards red, and if you have an alkaline environment, the color is going to be green or almost blue. If you want to change the pH of your water bath, you can do so by adding a little bit of citric acid in order to shift the pH more towards acidic environments. And if you want to create a more alkaline environment, you can add a little bit of washing soda. The fourth tip is about achieving clear reds when dyeing with madder. If you want to create a deep saturated red, you have to use enough amount of madder roots. If you want to dye a 100 gram skein of yarn, you should use 100 grams of madder roots. Another important aspect that I already mentioned is that you should be very aware of the temperature. Don't let the dye bath go up more than 80 degrees Celsius or 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, this can dull the color and you are not going to achieve the clear red that you are looking for. If you want to go for a red, the pH environment of the water bath is also very important. It should lean more towards alkaline. So if you are living in an area with hard water, this should be sufficient. But if you live in an area with softer water, you could add a little bit of washing soda to shift the pH slightly to achieve a clear red. That's it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I have lots more videos on natural dyeing plant in the future. See you next time. Bye guys!